148. Kimsukopama Jataka. All have seen, etc. This story the master told while staying at Jetavana Monastery, on the chapter about the Judas tree. 4 brothers, approaching the Tathagata, asked him to explain the means by which ecstasy may be induced. This he explained. This done, they dispersed to the several places where they spent their nights and days. One of them, having learned the 6 spheres of touch, became a saint. Another did so after learning the 5 elements of being, the third after learning the 4 principal elements, the fourth after learning the 18 constituents of being. Each of them told to the master the particular excellence which he had attained. A thought came into the mind of one of them. And he asked the master, there is only one nirvana for all these modes of meditation. How is it that all of them lead to sainthood? Then the master asked, is not this like the people who saw the Judas tree? As they requested him to tell them about it, he repeated a tale of past days. Once upon a time Brahmadatta the king of Benares had 4 sons. One day they sent for the charioteer, and said to him, we want to see a Judas tree. Show us one. Very well, I will, the charioteer replied. But he did not show it to them all together. He took the eldest at once to the forest in the chariot, and showed him the tree at the time when the buds were just sprouting from the stem. To the second he showed it when the leaves were green, to the third at the time of blossoming, and to the fourth when it was bearing fruit. After this it happened that the 4 brothers were sitting together, and someone asked, what sort of a tree is the Judas tree? Then the first brother answered, like a burnt stump. And the second cried, like a banyan tree. And the third, like a piece of meat. And the fourth said, like the acacia. They were annoyed at each other's answers, and ran to find their father. My lord, they asked, what sort of a tree is the Judas tree? What did you say to that? He asked. They told him the manner of their answers. Said the king, all 4 of you have seen the tree. Only when the charioteer showed you the tree, you did not ask him, what is the tree like at such a time? Or, at such another time? You made no distinctions, and that is the reason of your mistake. And he repeated the first stanza. All have seen the Judas tree, what is your perplexity? No one asked the charioteer what its form the livelong year. The master, having explained the matter, then addressed the brethren. Now as the 4 brothers, because they did not make a distinction and ask, fell in doubt about the tree, so you have fallen in doubt about the right. And in his perfect wisdom he uttered the second verse. Who know the right with some deficiency feel doubt, like those 4 brothers with the tree. When this discourse was ended, the master identified the birth. At that time I was the king of Benares. Source. Adapted from archaic translation by W. H. D. Rhys Jataka number 249. Like my own son, etc. This story the master told while living in Jetavana Monastery, about a distinguished elder monk. It is said that he had initiated a youth to the order, whom he treated unkindly. The novice at last could stand it no longer, and returned to the world. Then the elder monk tried to coax him. Look here, boy, said he, your robe shall be your own, and your bowl too. I have another bowl and robe which I'll give you. Join us again. At first he refused, but at last after much asking he did so. From the day he joined the brotherhood the elder monk maltreated him as before. Again the boy found it too much, and left the order. As the elder monk begged him again several times to join, the boy replied, you can neither do with me nor without me. Let me alone, I will not join. The brethren got talking about this in the hall of truth. Friend, said they, a sensitive boy that. He knew the elder monk too well to join us. The master came in and asked what they were talking about. They told him. He replied, not only is the boy sensitive now, brethren, but he was just the same of old. When once he saw the faults of that man, he would not accept him again. And he told a story of the olden time. Once upon a time, in the reign of Brahmadatta, king of Benares, the bodhisattva was born into a landowner's family, and gained a living by selling corn. Another man, a snake charmer, had trained a monkey, made him swallow an antidote, and making a snake play with the monkey he gained his livelihood in this way. A merrymaking had been proclaimed. This man wished to make merry at the feast, and he entrusted the monkey to this merchant, asking him not neglect it. 7 days after he came to the merchant, and asked for his monkey. The monkey heard his master's voice, and came out quickly from the grain shop. At once the man beat him over the back with a piece of bamboo. Then he took him off to the woods, tied him up and fell asleep. So soon as the monkey saw that he was asleep, he untied his bonds, ran off and climbed a mango tree. He ate a mango, and dropped the stone upon the snake charmer's head. The man awoke, and looked up. There was the monkey. I'll flatter him, he thought, and when he comes down from the tree, I'll catch him. So to flatter him, he repeated the first verse. Like my own son you shall be, master in our family. Come down, nuncle from the tree, come and hurry home with me. The monkey listened, and repeated the second verse. You are laughing in your sleeve. Have you quite forgot that beating? Here I am content to live ripe mangoes eating. Up he arose, and was soon lost in the wood, while the snake charmer returned to his house in high dudgeon. When this discourse was ended, the master identified the birth. Our novice was the monkey. The elder monk was the snake charmer, and I myself was the corn merchant. Source. Adapted from archaic translation by W. H. D. Rhys Jataka number 250. A holy sage, etc. This story was told by the master while living at Jetavana monastery, about a hypocritical brother. The brotherhood found out his hypocrisy. In the hall of truth they were talking it over. Friend, brother so-and-so, after embracing the Buddha's Dharma, which leads to salvation, still practices hypocrisy. The master on coming in asked what they were discussing together. They told him. Said he, Brethren, it is not the only time this brother has been a hypocrite. For a hypocrite he was before, when he shammed simply for the sake of warming himself at the fire. Then he told him an old world tale. Once upon a time, when Brahmadatta was king in Benares, the bodhisattva was born one of a Brahmin family. When he grew up, and his own son was of an age to run about, his wife died. He took the child on his hip, and departed into the Himalayas, where he became an ascetic, and brought up his son to the same life, living in a hut of leaves. It was the rainy season, and the heaven poured down its floods incessantly. A monkey wandered about, suffered with the cold, chattering and rattling his teeth. The bodhisattva fetched a great log, lit a fire, and lay down upon his straw mattress. His son sat by him, and scratched his feet. Now the monkey had found a dress belonging to some dead hermit. He clad himself in the upper and lower garment, throwing the skin over one shoulder. He took the pole and water pot, and in this sage's dress he came to the leaf hut for the fire. And there he stood, in his borrowed plumes. The boy caught sight of him, and cried out to his father, See, father, there is an ascetic, trembling with cold. Call him near. He shall warm himself. Thus addressing his father, he uttered the first stanza. A holy sage stands shivering at our gate, a sage, established in peace and goodness. O Father, ask the holy man to come in, that all his cold and misery may abate. The bodhisattva listened to his son. He rose up, and looked. Then he knew it was a monkey, and repeated the second stanza. No holy sage is he. It is a nasty and hateful monkey, greedy all to spoil that he called touch, who dwells among the trees. Once let him in, our home he will defile. With these words, the bodhisattva seized a firebrand, and scared away the monkey. And he leaped up, and whether he liked the wood or whether he didn't, he never returned to that place anymore. The bodhisattva cultivated the faculties and the attainments, and to the young ascetic he explained the process of the mystic trance. And he too let the faculties and the attainments spring up within him. And both of them, without a break in their ecstasy, became destined to Brahma's world. Thus did the Master discourse by way of showing how this man was not then only, but always, a hypocrite. This ended, he explained the truths, and identified the birth. At the conclusion of the truths some reached the first path, some the second, and yet some the third. The hypocritical brother was the monkey, Rahul was the sun, and I was the hermit myself.